This kid started hiding $5 bills in random library books at school. Not every book, just random ones. One day, a kid checked out a book, $5. And there's a note. The note said, "Congrats on finding one of the many $5 bills I hid in books." Within 2 weeks, the library was packed with kids, but not because they wanted to read. Kids would walk into the library, pull 20 books off the shelves, go through them, and leave them on the floor. The librarians were like, "What the heck is going on in here?" The principal called an assembly and said, "Whoever is hiding money inside of library books like they're frickin' Willy Wonka, please stop. You're causing chaos." The kid who did it never admitted to it. And legend has it, to this day, there are still some books in the library with money in them. And every so often, a student will go in there, searching, hoping to get lucky. This kid went over to his friend's house for the first time, and everything seemed completely normal at first. They played video games, had snacks, had dinner, then everyone was watching TV together in the living room. They're watching some action movie. And then a few minutes in, one of the characters makes the dumbest decision imaginable. Without saying a word, the dad reaches to the side of the couch, grabs what looks like a giant brick, and he just chucks it at the TV. "Ah, come on, idiot." Kid almost has a heart attack. What? But the thing is, it wasn't a real brick. It was styrofoam. It bounced right off the screen and landed on the carpet. And everyone just kept watching the movie. A few minutes later, another character does something stupid. The mom. "Oh, come on!" You see, the family had a whole stack of these styrofoam bricks on the sides of each seat in the living room. They were there specifically for throwing them at the TV whenever somebody got mad at what was happening there. This kid thought it was the funniest thing ever. So the next weekend, he's home with his family and they're watching TV and something dumb happens. He doesn't have a brick, so he grabs this pillow and he throws it at the TV. But the pillow was a little heavier than the styrofoam. The TV knocked over and unplugged. His dad, "Now why would you want to do that, son?" He just said sorry. He said it was too much work to explain himself, but he did say he loved going over to that friend's house. This kid was hanging out with his friend, playing video games, eating pizza, watching a movie. Yo, this night is so fun. Then his friend's mom walks into the living room. She's carrying snacks. Right as she sets the bowl on the coffee table, she lets out an absolute monster fart. This kid immediately bites his lip. Because in his house, the entire family would be laughing. Because farts are funny. Nobody reacted. She let out a monster fart, and nobody did anything. His friend was messing with the TV. Dad was just sitting there. Not to mention the smell. The smell was so weird. He starts laughing because he can't help it. And everyone looks at him like he's crazy. "What? What's up? Something happened? Hey, what's so funny? This is supposed to be a drama." "Oh, nothing." He asks his friend about it later. And his friend was just like, I don't know. I guess we just don't think farts are funny. But even if it's like a super big weird one like your mom did, I guess. To him, he said that was so strange. What do you think? This kid got a summer job at a golf course when he was 13 years old. "I'm 13. I work at a golf course." His whole job was simple. When golfers finished their round, they would drop off their golf carts. He would hose it down, then they would get the golf carts and take it away. After a couple of weeks, his bosses trusted him with the golf carts, even to drive them sometimes. Then one afternoon, he's taking this really nice golf cart back to the clubhouse. Well, there's a pond between him and the cart barn. Cuts the corner a little too tight. One tire slips off the path. He jerks the wheel. The whole cart is sliding. He's hitting the brake, but nothing's happening. "I'm hitting the brake. Nothing's happening." And then splash. Him and the golf cart in the pond. He jumps out just before this thing sinks. Now he's standing there soaking wet, staring at what he just did, and he's terrified. But wait till he finds out whose golf cart that was. Club manager comes running over after hearing the ruckus. "What happened over here? Please tell me that wasn't cart 12. That was cart 12. Turns out that was the mayor's brand new golf cart that he was keeping there at the club. And now it was sitting at the bottom of a pond. The mayor comes out. "Hey, is that my cart in the water? I want him fired." "What?" "Listen, I'm sorry, kid, but you're fired." I mean, yeah, I guess that does make a little sense. This teacher was brutal for this. If you misbehaved in class, didn't do your homework, or just got in trouble, you had to erase the whiteboard with your clothes. One afternoon, she calls on this kid to answer a question, but he wasn't listening. Billy! Oh, I'm sorry. What was the question? Oh, you weren't paying attention. Come up here, actually. I need you to erase this part of the board with your sleeve. Can I please not? You see, this kid was wearing a brand new white hoodie that he had got for his birthday from his parents. It was expensive, but she did not care. Now! The kid hesitated for a second, but then he went up there, his sleeve, and The right sleeve of that hoodie was dirty, ruined, was no longer pristine. He goes home, and that afternoon when he walks through his front door, his parents are like, "Yo, son, what happened to your sweatshirt?" So he tells the whole story. His dad didn't even finish listening. He grabbed his keys immediately, got into his car, and headed straight to the school. He brings his son with him. The principal is still in the office. "Hi, excuse me, my wife and I bought our son this brand new hoodie yesterday for his birthday. Look at his sleeve. The teacher made him do that." Apparently, the principal couldn't believe it. That's kind of sinister. So he said, "Don't worry, I'll handle this." As him and his dad were walking out of the office, he heard the principal, "Mrs. Johnson, please head to my office." And by the next morning, they noticed something. That teacher was on her best behavior, and she never made anybody erase the whiteboard with their clothes ever again. This kid was very quiet in school, so the bully thought he would be an easy target. On one Monday, the bully put a fake spider on this kid's notebook, expecting him to freak out. He's gonna freak out. But the kid sat down, saw it, and got excited instead. "Oh, cool, a spider!" "Oh man, it's fake." On Wednesday, the bully put a bunch of paper shreddings in this kid's locker, expecting him to get mad that it was so inconvenient. This'll be so inconvenient for him. But no, he started playing in it with his friends. "Oh, come on guys, look at this. It's raining paper." On Thursday, the bully dumped a bucket of water on him. "Oh, thank you so much, man. It's a hot one today." After that, the bully just stood there. He didn't know what to do anymore. He turned around, walked away, and he never messed with that kid again, because no matter what he did, the kid had the time of his life. On the first day of class, this teacher walked in and wrote his name on the board. "Mr. Stevenson." He told everyone to open their textbooks, and that was his entire teaching method. That entire class, he made the students copy, word for word, everything that was in chapter 1. Well, students started asking questions. "Why did the Roman Empire fall, Mr. Stevenson?" He would just say, "It should tell you in your textbook." Who won the War of 1812? "It should tell you in your textbook." "Well, what year did World War II end?" "That's not in the chapter, but the textbook should tell you." Shortly after that, the principal walked in. "Excuse me, who are you?" "I'm Mr. Stevenson." "Sir, you don't work here. I was coming in because the sub never showed up." Mr. Stevenson wasn't a teacher the school hired. Mr. Stevenson was just some random guy that showed up to that school that day, walked into that classroom, and pretended to teach the class. The police did come, and he did get a fine. That's insane. It's the first week of school, and this kid's rocking some brand new expensive Nikes. "Hey, yo, peep the kicks." "Ooh, those are clean, bro." "Yeah, they remind me of my mom." Then in the middle of class, the fire alarm goes off. "Oh, all right." And everyone crams into the hallway. Excuse me. Well, as he's making his way out, a student behind him steps on his right shoe, and his shoe comes off. Yo, wait, my shoe!" "Keep it moving." He gets outside and he's standing there with only one shoe on. Every grade is lined up. He's begging him to go back in. "No, you don't understand. My other shoe is inside, and those were expensive." "Are you nuts?" "No, forget it." Eventually, they're all let back inside, and he's looking everywhere. He can't find his shoe. It's like it's just gone. And at lunch, he's sitting there, and here's where it gets interesting. I guess some kid saw that the shoe had fallen off and took it, put it in his backpack. You see, they took a picture of the shoe, put it on a document, and typed, "If you ever want to see your shoe again, it's $45. And as he's sitting at lunch, someone in a hoodie slips him this note. Man. Now it's a full-blown shoe hostage situation. There was a random email on the flyer, and he emailed it. The kidnapper set up a spot, told him to drop the money, and they would drop the shoe. And he paid the $45. But hey, he got his shoe back. That's actually crazy. This is messed up. So a group of friends were invited to their classmate's house. "Guys, dinner at my house tonight. Be there." And this kid's parents were there. They're polite, they're well-spoken, just good people. For dinner, they eat homemade pasta. They're laughing about classes, midterms, teachers. A normal, fun night. When dinner is over, everybody offers to help. "Yo, let me help clean the table off, guys." "Yeah, I can do dishes too." But the friend's like, "No, don't. My parents will do it. Don't worry about it." They just laugh. But then they're like, wait, is he serious? His parents start doing the dishes, cleaning off the entire table, while their kid is just flipping through his phone. Later on, they move to the living room. They're all just chatting. The dad comes in and begins talking to one of the other kids. "So you work in foreign policy?" "Yeah, and then on my free time I do a lot of traveling. I have an art studio in my garage. Dude, you are so cool." This kid's having a great conversation with his friend's dad. Then, out of nowhere, this friend says, "Come on, Dad, shut up. Nobody cares about your boring job crap. Please leave." The whole room freezes, like, what is going on? The dad's face drops, and then he says, "Hey, come on, man. Don't talk to me like that in front of your friends. It's disrespectful. Go away." After that, nobody talks. His friends just grab their stuff and they begin walking out the door. "Hey, where are you guys going?" "We're leaving, man. Your parents are great. This whole thing is just weird." "Fine, leave." And on the ride home, all they can talk about was how disrespectful this kid is, and nobody ever hung out with him ever again. 1 week before winter break, the principal called an assembly. If the entire school can go 1 whole week without any write-ups, on Friday will be a free day. Students were like, all right, heck yeah. Nobody thought they would actually do it, because that sounds almost impossible. The entire school behaving well enough to not get write-ups. But 3 days in, it was working. I can't believe everyone's going along with this. It's nice. I got milk in my backpack. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, everybody behaved. For the most of Thursday, things were going fine. But people were like, holy crap, we're gonna do this. So of course, there was one kid that couldn't help himself. Yo, dude, you good? I think I'm gonna ruin it. No, you're not. You're fine, dude. Just don't do anything. No, I wanna ruin it. It was 10 minutes before the bell rings. This kid goes in front of the principal's office and picks a fight with the secretary. I'm gonna leave early. No, you're not. You don't have a note. Yeah? Well, note this. Did you just knock over my pencil holder? Shut up, idiot. That's it. You are getting a write-up. Principal comes out, this kid gets a write-up, and the entire week was a waste. Friday wasn't a free day. And once the rest of the students found out what this kid did, they gave him hell for the rest of the year. Why would he do that? Yo, this is karma. So when they were younger, these two best friends had this habit. They would drive around at night smashing mailboxes for fun. One drove, the other would swing the bat outside the window. Nice. One night, they spot this loose mailbox that caught their eye, and instead of hitting it, the friend got out and yanked it completely out of the ground and threw it in the middle of the street. Yo, just pulled it out. And it was a big mailbox with this long metal pole, and now it's just laying in the middle of the street. They drive off, they're laughing, they're blasting music, then they decide to make their way back home. And they're speeding, they're going really fast, when all of a sudden the driver's like, wait, isn't this the same road that, bam, the car hits something? It's the mailbox that they put in the middle of the street. The big mailbox. They get out to inspect the damage. The mailbox had put a major dent right in the front of the car, and half of it was under, and it kind of tore some stuff up underneath as well. The car was screwed. Bro, you're screwed. Me? You're the one that pulled it out. You told me to. They had no choice. This kid had to call his dad, and his dad had to come and they had to explain everything to him. And yeah, they were in major trouble. This is absolutely crazy. So there's this one freshman in high school, and his parents are out of town for the week. Well, instead of playing Xbox every day after school, he does something absolutely insane. He builds an actual wrestling ring in his backyard. I'm talking wood frame, ropes, the whole thing. And at school, he starts telling people, every day after school, my house, wrestling matches, $2 to get in. And for the first few days after school, it's just a couple of kids messing around. But then it started getting serious. One kid begins managing fighters and training them. Another's making poster for the big fight on Friday. People are putting money down. They're making actual bets. And these fighters are training all week. Well, by Thursday and Friday, it's not just this backyard thing anymore. Half the school is showing up. There's bets being placed, referees with whistles. It's absolutely insane. Well, finally Friday is the big fight, and it is beautiful. Until this kid's dad comes home and sees what's going on. What the heck is going on here? Oh my god! And the whole thing was shut down instantly. But those who went to that school never forgot the week of backyard wrestling. That's kind of crazy. At this one elementary school, all the teachers would split their classes into two groups, penguins and rats. And the teachers would use these groups for stuff like projects, just to organize the students. All right, class, penguins line up here, rats line up here. But here's the thing. A rivalry between the penguins and the rats of the school began to grow. Big time. Penguins and rats started not sitting by each other at lunch. They would steal from each other. They stopped being friends with people because of this. Hey, Johnny. What? I hear you were a rat. Shut your mouth, penguin freak. That's it. Fistfights, brawls at recess, pushing kids off the monkey bars. There was a full-blown war between these two groups. It was absolutely out of control. And the school staff didn't know what to do, so they just canceled recess. And they said, no more groups, no more penguins, no more rats. This is done. Eventually, it all kind of stopped. There were moments where kids tried to start new groups. Tigers, snakes, bears, but nothing stuck. One kid tried to bring it back a year later. He was passing flyers around the school that just said, "Penguins rise again." But he got suspended for inciting violence, and nobody tried that ever again. That's absolutely insane. Now this is unfortunate. One day during school, it's in between classes, and this kid is booking it down the hallway. He's running to the bathroom. Why? Because he needs to throw up. So he's running, he's holding his stomach, he's sweating. It looks pretty bad. But the history teacher sees this. He's strict, he's very dramatic. "Hey, you there! We do not run in the corridor!" The kid doesn't say anything, he just keeps running. "Oh no, you don't!" The teacher blocks off the hallway with his arms. But as he says this next thing in the middle of a sentence, this kid pukes and it goes into the teacher's mouth. "You will walk respect." What? The teacher then pukes. The kid continues to go to the bathroom and the entire hallway's watching like, "Yo, what the freaking heck just happened?" Obviously, the kid never got in trouble for running because, well, he was feeling sick. But the history teacher's reputation was tainted permanently. That's insane. She liked this boy in her art class. Hi. Hey. The kid was quiet, he was funny, he drew comics in his sketchbook. Well, through a few of her friends, she found out that he lived a couple blocks away from her. Now, she was determined to get closer to this guy. She wanted to do something memorable. So one night at 4 a.m., she sneaks out of her house. She's barefoot, she's in a hoodie, and she's carrying a bag of garbage. She walks 3 blocks to this kid's house. Her heart is pounding. She really wants him to like her back. When she gets there, she takes the garbage bag and she dumps all of the garbage all over his lawn. She then rings the doorbell and sprints home. The next day in class, she overhears this kid talking. "Hey, did anything weird happen to anybody else last night?" "No, why?" "Somebody dumped garbage all over my lawn at 4 a.m. and then rang my doorbell and ran away. And this was her chance." "That was me." "Oh, okay. Thanks." Of course. And he didn't talk to her for months after that. Why did she think that would work? That's absolutely insane. This kid used to be popular. "What's up, Carla?" "Hey, what up, Johnny?" "Hey, look, it's the loser, Steven. Screw you, Steven." He used to be untouchable. He would bully a bunch of people, his friends would laugh, the girls in the school loved him, and so did the teachers. But one Monday, he came back to school with a haircut. And it was bad. No, it wasn't just bad. It was horrible. Like a freaking cartoon villain. "Hey guys, how we doing today? What's up, Carla?" What? You look like Coconut Head. "What happened to you? Your haircut sucks." And like I said, it was actually bad. Like, it was uneven, there wasn't a fade, it was just cut horribly. And just like that, it was over. Every day, kids would laugh at him. Even when his hair grew back and he had a normal haircut, people still made fun of him. He eventually just stopped talking in the halls, in class, to his friends. He would eat lunch alone. Kids were making jokes as he walked by. And that's how the king of the school turned into the punchline of everyone's jokes. Hey, that's karma for you. In 7th grade, this kid realized that Pokemon cards were frickin' currency. His older brother handed him a shoebox full one day. "Hey bro, you can have these." "Hey, thanks, Johnny." And they were great cards. There was EXs, GXs, full arts, super rare cards in there. And at first he brought them to school to show them off. But then someone offered him $15 for that one. "Okay, thanks, here you go." And that's when it clicked. He built out a binder, he set prices for specific cards, and he started dropping little hints around the hallways. "This full art right here is only available today at lunch. After that, it's off the table forever." And that created urgency, because kids were like, "Oh my gosh, I want that card, I can only get it today." And suddenly, kids were lining up by his lunch table. It was kind of epic. He would also sell in the hallways, in the bathrooms. Between periods, it was just him. He didn't have a business partner. And teachers were seeing this like, "Oh, how cute. He's making a little pocket change selling his cute little cards." But no. By the end of that year, he pulled in more than $3,400. And that is a business mindset. You gotta respect the hustle. This one skate park, everyone called this kid the professor. While the kids from the neighborhood were hitting the ramps, the professor was sitting at the side with a notebook and a pencil. He didn't even own a skateboard. He just sat there, measuring the incline of the death gap, a 10-foot jump over the staircase that was very difficult. 6-degree angle, this one too. Huh. Then one day, the best skater in the neighborhood shows up. Let's call him Jackson. He was there to try to clear this death gap and make a name for himself in the neighborhood. I'm the best. I can do it. He tried 5 times. Every time, his board would scuff off and he would fall down. At this point, his elbows were bleeding and he was getting incredibly frustrated. Everyone watching was like, "You're not gonna do it, man. You're still a good skater, though." "Yeah, just give it up, Jackson. I'm gonna clear it." That's when the professor goes up to him. "Hey, dude, you're actually approaching it from a completely different angle. If you hit it right here, just like that, I promise you'll clear the gap." The kid is trying to help him. But Jackson says, "Shut up, dude. You don't even skate. I'm not gonna listen to you, loser." But Jackson had went over this jump thousands of times in his head. It's been in his notebook for days. He knows the angles. So he grabs Jackson's skateboard. Let me see this. He hops on, goes to the other end of the ramp, and he drops in. He's going. And he clears it. Whoa, he did it! Hey, nice work, man. What the heck? I told you, bro. If you listened to me, you could have had all the glory. But now, it's mine. Come on! Yeah, I'm awesome! The professor went home, and he never returned to that skate park again. And Jackson, that night, cried himself to sleep. And it's all because there's a big difference between Oak Street and Oak Avenue. And it changed this one kid's life. He was told to meet at this house for a study group. The address was 124 Oak Avenue. But when he put it in his GPS, he put 124 Oak Street, which is a completely different house. Pulled up, he went to the door and he knocked. "Oh, you must be one of the neighbor boys. Come on in," this old lady answered. Kid's like, "This doesn't seem like my study group." And it wasn't, but he just went along with it. "Have a seat, I'm making cookies." "Oh, okay." He sits down, she pours him a glass of milk, and he had a bite of a cookie. "This is the best cookie I've ever had." "Glad you like it." And they sat there for an hour and a half, just chatting. She told him stories about being in school in the 50s and their school dances. He even pulled out his book and studied there for a bit. It was productive, and him and this grandma lady connected. You see, this woman lived alone. Her grandchildren had all graduated and moved out of the town. She was lonely, and this kid's grandma had passed away 2 years ago. So it was like a connection. "Are you sure you've had enough food?" "Yes, it was delicious, and thanks for helping me study." "Of course. Come back whenever." And he did. Once a month, he would go over there for cookies and a study session. And he realized they had a substitute teacher, and Henry was sitting in the back of the classroom. He was minding his business. And the substitute came in that day strict for no reason. He scanned the classroom, and he saw Henry in the back. He sees 2 small devices in Henry's ears. "Hey, you! Give me those headphones now." Okay." He didn't argue, he just handed over the devices. The substitute then took these, put it in the drawer, and began teaching. About 10 minutes later, he needed a volunteer. "Okay, one of you come up here. You know what? How about you? In the back. Henry." No response. "Since you wanted to listen to music all class, why don't you come up here and help me?" Still nothing. He then lost it and walked straight to Henry. "Hi, hello? Why are you ignoring me?" "Oh, you were talking to me?" "Yes." "I'm sorry, I can't understand you, sir. You made me give you my hearing aids." This dude had confiscated Henry's medical necessity, and boy, did he feel stupid about that. "Well, why didn't you tell me?" "I don't know, you seemed real strict about it." He returned the hearing aids right then and there, but he never returned to that school. Yeah, I wouldn't either. This teacher was the strictest in the school. No phones, no talking, and absolutely no food. But then one morning, before class, she saw a single flaming hot Cheeto perfectly taped to the middle of her desk. What is this? She peeled the snack off, put it in the garbage, and monitored the room incredibly well that day. Nobody came forward. The next day, another Cheeto, taped with a single piece of Scotch tape on the pencil sharpener. Another one. The next day, another one taped to the back of her chair. The day after that, it was taped to her escape key on her keyboard. What is going on? She had no idea who was doing this, and it was messing with her badly. So she went to the school principal and the people in charge. And they're like, "Okay, settle down, it's just Cheeto, but I'll make an announcement." The principal was young and new, and he was about to make a major mistake. "Good morning, students. Whoever keeps taping single hot Cheetos to things in Mrs. Gable's room, please stop." He made that announcement to a middle school. What happened next? Dozens of students thought it was hilarious and started doing the exact same thing. There was flamin' hot Cheetos taped everywhere. Library books, school trophy case, the gym scoreboard. So the school tried to kill this joke for Mrs. Gable, but instead they accidentally started a cult, the taped hot Cheeto cult, and there was nothing they could do about it. The only thing that kills a trend is time, and it took some time. For some reason, in the middle of class, he pulled out a classical guitar, and he began playing classical guitar music in front of everybody. He was probably trying to show off his guitar skills in front of the students. Well, some kid in the back was whispering during it. Dude, last weekend was so freaking fun. That squirrel was awesome. Well, Mr. Thorne heard this. It was during the most delicate part of the song. He took his guitar, and he threw it right at this kid. It hit the wall and shattered. The guitar was expensive too, and the teacher just broke it. Everyone was stunned. Mr. Thorne then began to walk to the back of the classroom towards the kid. Mr. Thorne then reached down, grabbed the metal legs of the desk, and flipped the desk with the kid still in it. The kid was now pinned under the desk, and he was crying. The rest of the class still stunned. Mr. Thorne then walked back to the front of the room, looked at everybody and said, "Page 42, now." And he expected everyone was just gonna do it. But no, the kid who was flipped walked out, got the principal came, and Mr. Thorne was fired. And yeah, that makes perfect sense. Top 3 pettiest teachers. Number 3. There was a teacher that gave detention for somebody sneezing twice. The first time it was, bless you. The second time, okay, now you're just messing with me. Detention after school today. It was allergy season too, so for the rest of the week, these kids were fighting for their lives. Well, one day at the end of class, this teacher had a sneezing fit. All right, and oh, Miss Johnson, that's 3 sneezes. I guess that means you're suspended, huh? She never gave someone detention for sneezing again. Number 2, this one teacher right before class started one day moved the clock 10 minutes back just because she wanted to disappoint these kids when they started packing up at what they thought was the end of class. All right, we got a couple minutes left. I'm so hyped for lunch. Why are you boys packing up? Oh, miss, we only got 2 minutes of class left. Somebody check their phone. What the heck? That's right, I tampered with the clock. We have 10 minutes. It's time for group reading. That's just diabolical. Number 1 pettiest teacher. There was a teacher who failed the kid for using blue ink on a test. The problem was, she was the same teacher that lent him the pen. So you see, a kid forgot one. He asked, "Yo, can I borrow something for the test?" "Sure, here you go." She gave him a blue pen. Well, you see, in the syllabus, she had a rule where you weren't allowed to take a test with a blue pen. It had to be black. So he finishes the test, hands it in, and gets a 0. That teacher just wanted him to fail. And that's messed up. In most classrooms, misbehavior gets you a warning or a detention. Well, back in the 80s, it was something completely different. In this classroom, any deviation from the system, like talking too much or misbehaving, throwing stuff, spitballs, it required a physical debt. Hey! Kyle, spitball! The teacher didn't make them sit in a corner or put a goofy hat on. Next to his desk on the floor laid a sheet of coarse sandpaper. One mistake, you had to get up there and kneel down on the sandpaper. And you weren't just kneeling. You were working. You had to stay in that exact position while your knees grinded onto the grit while you had to write massive amounts of words. And what you normally did is there were a list of 30 words, and you had to write each word 10 times. The punishment was designed to make them try to write fast, because the longer you took to write these words, the longer you had to kneel. It's actually incredibly horrifying, and it would completely not fly today. I can't believe that's what they did back then. Eventually, they stopped doing that, thank God. But that teacher never got in trouble because, well, it was the 80s. He was a kid. His mom dragged him to the nearest 7-Eleven. I don't want to go. Well, that's too bad. Well, they get there. She goes in the store, but he waits outside. He then sees this older, strange-looking guy sitting against a wall. Hey. Hey, you want to see something cool? And he's a kid, so he said yes. Of course he wants to see something cool, which you should never do. The man then smiles, and then pulls off a prosthetic leg, and showed this kid his leg stump. Look at this. The leg stump had a very weird smiley face drawn on it in Sharpie. The kid absolutely freaks out. That's not cool. The man then panics because I guess he had good intentions. Oh, no, wait, look, it's actually cool, look. The kid's now ugly crying. The mom runs out of the store. What's going on? His leg. The man's embarrassed. The mom's freaking out at him. I don't know why he showed the kid his leg stump anyway, but she went home with her kid. And years later, when he sees a 7-Eleven, he freaks out a little bit still. This school prank lasted for 2 years. It all began at this high school when a single rubber duck appeared in the school's water fountain. And nobody thought much of it. It was just a random duck. Who cares? Until the next day, 2 ducks. Then 4, then 10. By the end of that week, there was rubber ducks appearing in every sink, every toilet, and even in students' lockers. Teachers were losing their minds. The principal, she was done. She kept saying on the intercom, "Whoever's responsible for the ducks, speak up now, please." Silence. Nobody confessed. So they gave up. They figured it would eventually sizzle out. But here's the thing, it never stopped. For 2 years, rubber ducks would randomly appear in the craziest of places. Ceiling tiles, inside the vending machines, somehow. One duck even appeared in the vice principal's car. It became a legend till this senior year. It was graduation. The principal was giving her speech when suddenly a banner dropped down. What was on the banner? A single rubber duck. This kid walked to the front of the stage and said, "It was me. It was always me." There was this kid in high school who refused to buy a desk chair, and instead he would sit on 3 milk crates stacked on top of each other every single day when he was gaming. All of his friends roasted him for it. "That's your chair, bro? You're a freaking loser." But he would always say, "Why would I spend hundreds on a chair when these crates work?" Well, one day his back starts killing him. His legs kept falling asleep, and that is actually when he realized there's a reason why people buy actual chairs. Well, that's kind of where I'm at, guys. I've been editing YouTube shorts in this random chair for 8 hours a day, every day. I finally upgraded. It's 100% the upgrade I've been needing. Kaiser 3. Look at these armrests. What? It's got a magnetic pillow. My favorite part. I'm taking a nap
Kaiser
now,
3
guys.
is so comfortable. $30 off with the code Elliot. Come on, baby. Hit it.
Top 3 principles on a power trip. Number 1, this principal banned all backpacks because the hallways were messy and crowded. So now kids had to carry classes worth of stuff in their arms all day. Folders ripping open, papers on the floor. Meanwhile, this principal still walks around with her leather briefcase. Oh, pardon me. Pardon me. Became such an issue, parents kept calling the school asking why backpacks weren't allowed. After a few days, so many kids started asking the principal about her briefcase that the rule died. The next one, this principal was tired of students being late to first period, so he forced every single teacher to lock every single classroom door the second the bell rings. And if you don't do it, there's gonna be problems. Didn't matter if it was raining outside or if your bus was late. If you weren't there before the bell, you weren't getting into class, and you had to go to the office. One morning, a school board member showed up for a surprise visit, and when she walked through the hallways, she saw tons of students banging on their classroom doors trying to get in. What is going on here? Number 1, there was a principal who decided students were too loud during lunch, so he made the cafeteria completely silent, and detentions were handed out to anyone that spoke even one word. Milk. Detention! Hundreds of kids eating in total silence. It was completely insane. Until one day, this kid brought a whoopee cushion. He thought it would be funny to prank his friend during silent lunch. So his friend sits down. It was a slow, loud whoopee cushion fart. Everyone was silent for a few seconds after that. Then, they just burst out laughing. Even the principal. Okay, we can talk again. I guess all it took was some light-hearted fart joke to turn the mean old man into a softie again. One day, this kid randomly stopped wearing his backpack, and nobody knew why. One weekend, this kid's parents bought a new microwave, and so on Monday morning, he starts carrying around all his stuff that would usually be in his backpack, but instead, now, it's in this empty cardboard microwave box. Not the microwave, just the box it was in. People are staring at him. They're like, that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Teachers are like, where's your backpack? I like this better. And honestly, it worked better for him. Box stood up by itself. Everything in there was organized. He never had to dig around looking for pencils. So here's the funny part. The next week, some kid shows up to school carrying a toaster oven box with all of his backpack stuff in it. Then the next day, another kid came with a vacuum cleaner box. One guy carried around a crock pot box for like a month, Pretty soon, the hallways of the school looked like a frickin' appliance store. Teachers completely gave up trying to understand what was going on, but this kid was just being weird. He accidentally changed the entire school. He started a crazy trend, but it started to get out of hand because people tried to one-up each other and bring bigger and bigger boxes. Kid brought his stuff in a lawnmower box, and it had to be completely shut down. One kid was trying to be funny and was gonna bring all of his stuff in a refrigerator box, but he got stopped at the door. But boy, what a glorious semester that was. That's hilarious. This kid's family owned a bounce house company. Every summer, they had this warehouse packed with the inflatable bouncy houses. There were obstacle courses with slides, tons of those giant blower fans to keep these things inflated. Well, one year, during the last week of school, this kid gets a brilliant idea. Monday morning comes, he walks into school carrying a giant roll of raffle tickets. $5 a ticket. Kids keep asking, "So, what do you win?" "You'll see Friday. But I promise, it's awesome." People are curious and they're buying tickets. Some people are pooling money with their friends because they know that this has got to be good. Friday comes. It's the last day of school, and right as the final bell rings, he gathers everybody that bought a ticket. He reaches into a bucket and pulls out the first one. That kid starts screaming. Then another, then a third. 3 winners. Now he finally explains the prize. Okay, so each winner gets to pick one day this summer, and on that day, I'm gonna drop off a giant bounce house to your yard for the whole day. And people went crazy because winning didn't just mean you got a bounce house in your yard for the day. It meant your house became the place that every kid wanted to be. It was gonna be a party. And those 3 parties ended up being the biggest and best ones of that summer that nobody ever forgot. The next year, he did it again, and he sold way more tickets than the first year. He made hundreds and hundreds of dollars selling raffle tickets for things his family already had. And that, my friends, is why you gotta respect the hustle. This kid started a newspaper at school, and it wasn't the school newspaper. Every Friday, he would show up with around 20 copies of this newspaper he would print at home. And here's the thing. Everything in this newspaper was 100% true. It was all just completely unnecessary. One headline said, "Mr. Jenkins bought new shoes." All right. Another one was how the science teacher switched from black coffee to coffee with vanilla creamer. There was an entire article covering the fact that some kid's dad bought a brand new lawnmower, and one about another kid's grandpa who got a new hearing aid. Nobody needed to know any of this stuff, but people couldn't stop reading it. Hey, did you read Johnny's newspaper this week? Yeah, I read that Steven's cat no longer has fleas. The headlines were crazy. Stuff like, Mrs. Carter has worn the same watch every day for 8 years. Or, the principal parks in a different spot every time it rains. Or, every Wednesday the janitor whistles the same song. Teachers would buy and read these newspapers as well. Hey, how did you know I bought new shoes? The kid would be like, oh, I pay attention. Pretty soon everyone got paranoid because they're like, this kid knows everything. People started acting different because they didn't want to be a headline. But this kid didn't post rumors or gossip. It was just simple stuff. It was harmless. Nobody was getting roasted. It was just information. You know what? You gotta respect the hustle. So this one dude in this one class was huge. Tall, wide. And the way he would eat food was an operation. I know what I like. He would show up to class with a full row of cookies, 20-something, and he would stack them perfectly on one side of his desk. Then the system began. He would take one bite from the top cookie and put it to the right side of his desk. The next cookie, one bite, then on top of the cookie that's on the right side of his desk. Then the next, down the entire row. Each cookie with exactly one bite out of it, stacked on top of each other. When the whole tower has migrated to the right side, he didn't stop. He would just restart the cycle. A new bite off the top cookie moved to the left side of the desk. Then the other one. A new bite, then stacked on top of the cookie on the left side of the desk. Do you get what I'm saying here? Cookie, bite, stack, cookie, bite, stack. And he keeps restarting this process. Well, 15 minutes of rhythmic biting and stacking later, the entire tower of cookies was just gone. Desk wiped clean, 0 crumbs, like it never happened in the first place. And obviously, everyone in class saw him do this, but it was so strange and so weird that nobody ever said anything to him. That's nuts. When this kid was 5, his parents convinced him that if he didn't do chores or he didn't help them around the house, the lazy monster would get him and he would die. It's true. Just straight up death. So he goes into survival mode. Every day, whenever he has free time, he's sweeping, dusting, reorganizing, folding laundry, and his parents loved it. They're sitting there chilling and their 6-year-old kid is doing the house chores. And this happens for years. Years later, he's 11 now, tells his friends about the lazy monster. Yeah, I can't hang out because I gotta go wash the bathroom, otherwise the lazy monster is gonna get me. His friends are like, what? He explains more. Then his friends say, dude, that's actually crazy that you believe that. Your parents are tricking you, dude. And it clicked. His entire worldview collapses, and he immediately feels like he wasted years of his life. He storms home and he demands his parents tell him why they did this. And all they could say was, you'll get over it. That's definitely not okay. This school had a zero tolerance rule. And it sounded fair until kids realized what that actually meant. If a fight happened, everybody involved would get the same punishment. Didn't matter who started it, didn't matter who swung first. If you were involved, it was all the same. And on paper, it was supposed to stop the bullying. In reality, it did the opposite. The bullies figured it out fast. They'd corner somebody, shove them, taunt them, and then they would say the same thing. Go ahead, hit me, loser. You're getting in trouble regardless. But you won't. And the victims, they learned the lesson as well. If they stayed still and took the beating, they'd be punished. If they would fight back, they'd also be punished. It was the same outcome. So something changed. Kids who usually froze stopped freezing. If I'm getting in trouble either way, I'm not holding back. Fights stopped becoming these quick one-sided scuffles. They became explosive, unpredictable. One day, a bully was picking on this kid he normally does. Idiot, loser, freak. And the kid that he was bullying went feral, shoved him so hard he fell through the classroom window. One fight was so nuts, it took 5 staff members to break it up. And this was all because of the zero tolerance rules. These kids that were picked on were not holding back anymore. They're like, screw this. I'm not taking it if I'm going to get in trouble as well. The school administration eventually started to panic. The rule meant to stop violence made it more extreme. They then changed the rule back to what it was before this. But it was never really the same after that. That's nuts. It started with strawberry milk. Cafeteria strawberry milk. Everyone knew this one kid loved it. I freaking love it. So one day, his friend group makes a deal. Alright, so for every strawberry milk carton you finish, we'll all pay you $1. $1 per milk? Easy. So kids start sliding in these strawberry milk cartons across the table. And now he's got a bunch in front of him. Guys, this is gonna be awesome. I love strawberry milk. The first carton goes down easy. The second carton, still good. Third carton, confidence is growing. I got this. All right, it's $3 so far, man. By the time lunch is halfway over, there's a crowd forming around him, cheering for him. Come on, man, you got this. That's really impressive. Milk. That's $15 so far, man. The kid keeps drinking. The money keeps stacking. Carton number 18. He stops in his tracks. Silence. And then it happens. A violent, unstoppable stream of neon pink vomit explodes across the lunch table, covering trays, shoes, people's faces. Everyone begins to scatter, running away from this horrible scene. He got to keep the money, but ever since that day, he has not been able to drink milk ever again, and strawberry milk was his favorite. It's kind of sad. The school banned dodgeball because it was way too violent. Parents were complaining that their kids were getting hurt. So the gym teacher came up with a brand new game, a safer game. It's called complimentary catch. Everyone sits in a circle and tosses a foam ball around. When the ball gets to you, you have to give somebody else in the circle a compliment. Billy, I like your nose. The students gave it a shot, but eventually they were like, this is the dumbest thing ever. They lasted about 1 week until they had enough. One kid gathered some people. Guys, we're not doing this anymore. He rallied the entire grade to skip gym class the next day. And word spread like wildfire through the hallways. When gym period rolled around, not a single student showed up. All right, who's ready for some compliments? Where is everyone? At that very moment, practically every single student in the grade was out in the back field. They split into 2 massive teams, and they brought out all the dodgeballs. And they started the biggest, dodgeball war that school had ever seen. It was beautiful. Kids were diving, dodging, launching balls from every direction. The principal and every single teacher made their way outside to see what was going on. And there's like 150 kids playing a huge game of dodgeball in rebellion. Everyone tried to blow their whistle. They tried to break this game up, but they couldn't. The dodgeball game lasted for an hour and a half. And when it finally ended, the students just walked back inside. And they accepted whatever punishment came their way. Next week, dodgeball was reintroduced back into gym time. That's crazy. My home office has a window, and it directly faces my neighbor's living room window, 3 feet away. That was Toby. And for 6 months, Toby has not worked a single day without being watched. Every morning at 9 a.m. as Toby's sitting down at his desk to begin his work from home assignments, a tabby cat named Barnaby would take his position in his neighbor's living room windowsill, directly across from Toby. And the cat wouldn't sleep. He would just stare at Toby, right in his eyes, every day. It kind of creeped him out. It was this cat's routine. Well, by month 3, Toby kind of snapped. He decided if the cat wanted a show, he was gonna give him a show. It started with Toby finding a video titled Video for Cats, and he turned it around and faced it right towards Barnaby. Well, Barnaby wasn't impressed. The next day, Tony danced for Barnaby. It wasn't good, but he danced. Barnaby perked up. You could tell. He was responding to this. Well, the next day he put on a puppet show. I'm a puppet. Me too! Oh look, there's a cat! Now I also want to mention that Barnaby was an indoor-outdoor cat. One night as Toby was going to the store, he opens his front door and he sees a dead mouse sitting there on his porch. He got rid of the mouse, but every day after that, he kept receiving more and more items. A neighbor's gardening glove, a Hanes sock, a literal $1 bill. So he installed a camera doorbell to see what was going on, and he found the culprit. It was Barnaby, leaving gifts for Toby every night. It was like he was paying him for this entertainment he's been receiving. And ever since that day, Toby and Barnaby were best friends. Barnaby always sat in that opposite windowsill. Toby was always at his desk working, until one day Barnaby wasn't there. Toby was concerned. The next day, again, Barnaby, nowhere to be seen. So he goes over to his neighbor's house, knocks on the door. Barnaby had passed away. And Toby was heartbroken. Rest in peace, Barnaby. Every school had a dead zone, a room in the basement or a locked corner of the gym where chairs and desks go to die. Most people see a pile of trash, but to Mr. Henderson, it was a gold mine. The school budget for furniture was pretty much zero. If a chair leg snapped or the top of a desk cracked, it wasn't getting replaced. So for a decade, the chair graveyard grew. They see a mess, but I see a spare heart for the chair in room 203. Mr. Henderson didn't just guard the room. He was pretty much a furniture surgeon. He had a specific system. When one chair broke, he knew which piece to grab from the graveyard. He was swapping around parts like he was Frankenstein. See, this one can be saved, but this one's too far gone. Except that leg is looking pretty nice. I'll take this and I'll put it here. It's fixed. Well, the legend started when a group of 10th graders tried to steal a few chairs. So they go into this graveyard. Quick, grab one. So they tried to grab a few chairs, but this is when it happened. They pulled out one chair and the entire mountain collapsed right onto them. And Mr. Henderson was in the corner of the room, watching. Well, boys. Trying to steal my stash. He obviously helped them up and gave them a few band-aids for their scrapes. And the punishment for breaking into the room and trying to steal the chairs, they had to reorganize it and stack everything back up perfectly. You gotta love Mr. Henderson. Most teachers use seating charts to help keep the peace, but Mr. Miller used his in a different way. For the first month, Miller studied the room. He figured out exactly who was best friends and who couldn't stand each other. Then he released a mandatory seating chart. Okay, everybody, this seating chart is law, unless somebody has an offer. That's when he introduced the daily waiver. For the price of a premium snack and a cold drink, one student per day could buy their way into the seat right next to their friend. But that's the catch. He only did one trade per class. And it was actually kind of fun. The students loved this. Every morning it was like an auction. So he has to pick out the best of the snacks. I have Takis and a Capri Sun. Nah. I have milk and tuna. No, I got Airhead Sour Strips and an Orange Crush. Deal. And that's what he did the entire year. The kids thought it was pretty awesome. So in turn, they respected him, and the behavior was pretty good. The principal thought he was a genius, and Mr. Miller always had the best snacks. Most kids start a lemonade stand to make some extra cash, but Dax was playing a much darker game. He opened a barber shop in his garage, and even though his fades were terrible, every kid was lining up for a $5 buzz cut. Step up, who's next? It was like the social event of the summer. Everybody was hanging out, listening to music, laughing at how bad the haircuts were. Bro, you look goofy. What? But Miles noticed something weird. After every haircut, Dax was picking up some of the hair and putting it in a Ziploc bag. Once the day was over, Dax had cut like 15 people's hair. Miles stuck around and asked him, "Bro, why were you putting your hair in bags? Hey, check this out." He brought him to a shelf, and on that shelf was hundreds of Ziploc bags. Each of them had hair in it, and each of them were labeled. This is Miles from August 12th. This one is Cooper from July 4th. Look at all of these. I had the genetic blueprint of the entire 8th grade right here, labeled and dated. Miles just laughed. "Bro, you're weird." But Dax leaned in. "Everybody thinks I'm a bad barber." Which is true, but they don't realize I got a much bigger plan. Next time someone does me dirty, steals my seat at lunch, makes fun of me, I'm gonna find a crime scene anywhere, and I'm gonna drop their hair right in the middle of it. What? Let's say Miles calls me a loser. Well, I hear sirens. I follow the sirens. A crime scene. There was a murder. Miles goes right on the floor. The police. "Whose hair is this?" They go to the computer. It's Miles. Miles goes to prison for murder. Bro, that is so messed up. And it was. And obviously, that really wouldn't work. But Miles made sure to stay Dax's friend. Just in case. You would hate for some of his hair to end up at a crime scene. "You must clean the dish before you put it in the dishwasher." What? Kenny's mom had this incredibly specific belief that the dishwasher was only meant for sanitizing, not cleaning. If you put a plate in there with a smear of sauce on it, she would pull each and every dish out of there, give you a lecture, and make you wash every dish before you put it back in. "Kenny, look at this. A smudge of barbecue sauce. Take these all out. Rewash them and put them in the dishwasher." Kenny spent 45 minutes every single night scrubbing clean plates and cups before putting it in the machine. He'd be there scrubbing, looking at it. "Mom, it's literally called the dishwasher. Can't we just start putting them in there and that's it?" "No, Kenny." He does this for years. Scrub dish, put dish in dishwasher, dishwasher run, dish done. One day he goes to his friend Steve's house. They have dinner there. His mom takes all these greasy, messy, nasty plates and puts him directly in the dishwasher. So Steve, your mom just puts him in the dishwasher? "Yeah, it's a dishwasher, Kenny. It washes the dishes." Kenny then realized he spent years doing a pointless task because of his mom's OCD. Mom, Steve's dishwasher cleans their dishes just fine. Yeah, well, Steve's family probably shares a shower towel, so. Jeez. This kid, let's call him Steven. He spent an entire year saving up. We're talking birthday money, pulling weeds, every $5 bill he could find. He didn't use that money to buy games or food or candy or nothing. Bought a gallon of slate gray paint, some shelves, a desk, and some other things. He spent his entire spring break sanding the floors of his room, painting the walls, setting up his desk and his computer, all by himself. By the time he was done, he had the best room in the entire house. I did it. Steven then went to a 3-day science camp. Well, on Sunday, when it was over, he gets dropped off back at his house, and he enters through the garage. And in the garage, he sees it. His desk, his bed, his shelves, just sitting there in the middle of the garage. What is going on? So he sprints upstairs. Well, the door to his room is locked, and he hears music coming from it. Well, his sister finally opens it. The gray paint was gone. It had been covered in a cheap coat of white, and his sister's ring light was right by the window. Her bed was there, with pink bedding. It was completely different. That's when his dad came out. "Oh yeah, son, by the way, we moved your stuff out of your room. We figured your sister could have a better use for it." You see, his sister was a wannabe TikTok content creator, and he said her content was suffering because her old room had no natural light. And since Steven fixed up the room so nicely, it was the perfect studio for her. "Where am I supposed to go?" "Well, your stuff's in the garage, son. Why don't you go build something in there?" He spent his own money to renovate a room that he wasn't even allowed to keep. Another instance of horrible parents. A $3,000 earring just sank to the bottom of a swimming pool. It was a July heat wave. The water at the public pool was cloudy. The deep end was super deep. Even the lifeguards were afraid. And at the bottom of the pool was now this girl's very expensive earring. "Somebody help me, somebody help me." That's when everybody turned to this kid who was sitting in a chair playing with a ladybug. "Do something." Do something, Bug. You see, they called this kid Gills because every day in the summer he would play in pool water, then he would drink it. Don't ask him, dude. He's super weird. Yeah, but bro, if somebody could do it, it's Gills. Gills never used goggles. He said he could sense his surroundings through his fingertips. So they asked him, "Hey, Gills." "Yeah, bro. We need your help, man. That girl lost a $3,000 earring. It's at the bottom of the deep end." And Gills did not hesitate. "I'm on it." He dives right in. 1 minute passed, then 2. The snack bar worker paused the music. The crowd went dead silent. Everyone was waiting for Gills' lifeless body to float to the surface, when suddenly a hand comes right out of the water, holding the earring. "Oh my God. Here's your earring. I also found a hot dog down there. Free food." He ate the hot dog and sat back down with the ladybug. That day, the nickname Gills stopped being an insult. He was kind of a legend. And it all started because this teacher's bogus for this. One morning in this class, everyone was supposed to present these dioramas. And these kids had spent a lot of time on these. They're all lined up on tables. Castles, volcanoes, rainforests. The entire room looks like an art fair. Well, then one kid starts messing around, weaving between tables, being kind of reckless, and then bam! He stumbles onto someone's project. Oh, crunch. The trees snap in half. Clay figures all across the floor. This kid's diorama was completely ruined. "Dude, what are you doing?" Wasn't my fault. The teacher walks over, takes one look, and says, "Maybe you should have put it somewhere secure. Now you're not ready for your presentation." What? Let this be a lesson to you. In life, you must always have a backup plan. And that kid failed the assignment, all because some nutcase slammed into it and broke his project. That is not fair, and that teacher is so messed up for this. This class did not want to take this test, so they faked a police phone call. Senior year was advanced chemistry. Only 13 students in this class. It's test day. Everybody's stressed, so they come up with a plan. Before the test starts, the valedictorian raises his hand. "Can I go to the bathroom really quick, please?" Boom, he's allowed to go. Instead of the bathroom, he goes to this old private stairwell, and he calls the front office. "Hi, this is Officer Johnson from the police department. I need to talk to the chemistry teacher, please." The front office panics, calls the teacher down. "Oh, okay. Be back, students." The teacher grabs the keys, leaves the room. The second he's gone, the class moves around like a pit crew. They blow up balloons. They pull out a grocery store birthday cake. Streamers. Party hats on everybody. Full birthday setup in under 2 minutes. Meanwhile, in the office, "Hello? Blah, 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 Mickey Mouse." And he sprints back to the classroom. The teacher then walks back into the classroom. They all shout, "Surprise! Happy birthday!" The teacher is then like, "That is so nice, but it's not my birthday." But it didn't matter. The cake gets cut, everyone eats it, and the test gets postponed 1 week. That is absolutely brilliant. This is insane. So this one school's cafeteria used real silverware, actual metal forks, knives, and metal spoons. And every day after lunch, kids are supposed to take the silverware and put it in these tubs right next to the garbage can so the school can wash them. But over the course of like 5 months, the school began noticing their supply of spoons was dwindling. What in the world is happening to our spoons? The lunch staff thought the kids were accidentally throwing these spoons in the garbage. So they began making announcements and posters.
"Attention students, make sure you put the silverware back in the tubs. Don't throw them away."
But it didn't stop. You're missing hundreds more spoons now, guys. Hundreds? Nobody had any clue what the heck was happening because it wasn't a whole school issue. It was one kid. Every day at lunch, he would pocket a spoon or 2 or 3, but never more than 4 a day. Not for a plan or a prank. He was just like collecting them. "I like spoons." He kept them inside his locker in a flimsy grocery bag hanging from the hook. Months go by. The bag gets heavier and heavier. The plastic grocery bag stretches thinner and thinner. Then one morning before first period, as the hallway is packed and it's loud, he swings open his locker, and the bag finally gives out. It rips straight down the middle, and hundreds of metal spoons start pouring out of his locker onto the floor. And the sound is insane, like someone dropped an incredibly heavy toolbox down a flight of stairs. Once they all fall, he just stands there staring at the pile on the hallway floor. It's the end of an era. Within 5 minutes, the entire school knew what had been happening with the spoons. He got into big trouble. The rest of that year, they called him Spoon Kid, and he was kind of a legend. Gotta respect Spoon Kid. It started stupidly small. He's in his yard, and he sees a single crow staring at him. "What's up, crow?" And he went inside and got a cracker, and tossed this one crow a cracker. Well, that's it. That's the moment his life changed forever. Because the next morning, there's 3 crows waiting. "Yo, there's 3 of you now. All right, here, 3 crackers." The next morning, there's 9 crows. Oh my God. A full-on crowd of crows waiting for their daily crackers every single morning. And it doesn't just stop there. If he walks to his car, they follow him. If he walks his dog, they're behind him, flying over or hopping on the sidewalk. Every so often, they would drop gifts to him, like a shiny gum wrapper, or a twig, or an apple core, like gifts. Oh, thank you for the Slim Jim. I appreciate it. Then he realizes he's the leader of the crows. Every day they're there. They think of him like their mother. And he can't even take the trash out without crows surrounding him like Secret Service. It's absolutely insane. When she was in 2nd grade, her older sister got glasses. And instantly, she wanted a pair of glasses as well. So she told her parents.
I can't see the board at school.
So they take her to the eye doctor. He does a test and she's pretending like she can't see. 2 minutes in, he says, yeah, she's lying. She can see fine. But her parents still believed her, and they're like, no, you better give her some glasses. He writes a prescription, and just like that, a week later, her glasses are ready. At first, she loved them, even though she couldn't really see in them because, well, she lied during that test. But she loved the frames, she loved the attention she was getting, but she kept wearing them for years. And her eyes kept adjusting to the prescription, and the prescription kept getting stronger and stronger. We'll flash forward 10 years, and now every day, she wears a pair of the thickest glasses because she actually can barely see without them now. And she's pretty sure it's because back in 2nd grade, she lied when taking the eye test, and she ruined her eyesight forever. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. This would happen across the school every single day. Different classrooms, different floors, but every day at exactly 12:17 p.m. Can I use the bathroom? 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 Nothing suspicious. Not really a pattern that these teachers could put together very easily because, like I said, they were each in a different classroom. But here's what nobody knew. At the far end of the school, in the quiet bathroom nobody ever uses, these kids would go and run full-blown underground Beyblade battles. Every day after they released from the classroom, they would sprint to this bathroom. And when they would get there, they would let it frickin' rip. They had a few of those classic plastic Beyblade arenas, and they were just going to town. They would put money on it as well. Come on, I got 20 bucks on this. You're totally gonna lose, bro. Milk. Doesn't that sound freaking awesome? They had a blast. I would love this. Well, more and more people were kind of told about this, and more students began joining. And eventually it became this kind of thing. They were caught and shut down forever. But nobody forgot about that. The random bathroom Beyblade battles at 12:17 p.m. every day. That's awesome. There was a kid named Ian. He was the shortest kid in elementary school. The bullies loved making fun of him. Hey, short stack, what's the weather like down there? Bruh. One night he came home and he sat at the kitchen table and he talked to his dad. Dad, they won't leave me alone. His dad didn't tell him to ignore it. His dad didn't call to school. Ian, come with me. I want to show you something. They go downstairs and Ian realizes that this corner of the basement wasn't used for storage. There was a punching bag there, a full boxing setup, gloves, wraps, a speed bag, a heavy bag, like a mini gym in this corner of their basement. Whoa. Son, you're going to train. You're not going to train to hurt them. You train so you don't feel so helpless. So Ian starts practicing every day, day after day, and he's getting pretty good. Then, one day in the cafeteria, Ian's carrying his lunch. He walks past the bully's table and he tries to ignore them. One of the bullies steps up and smacks the tray into his face. Food everywhere, milk dripping down his shirt. Everybody's laughing at him. And then Ian snaps. He puts his tray down calmly, walks straight up to that bully, pops him right in the face. Then another one. Clean, quick punches. The bully's stunned. He falls down. He's like, all right, stop. All right, stop. Ian walks away. He's taken to the office and he's suspended for a whole week. But nobody messed with him ever again. He never had to use his boxing skills ever again. But he knows he has them, and if he has to use them, he will respect. In 8th grade, there was a social studies teacher that never gave homework. Like ever. And she was universally loved for it. Then one random Tuesday, she assigns the class homework. And the next day, nobody turned it in. Not one person. And she just detonates. Well, I bet you all did your math homework last night, didn't you? Because everyone respects math. Who cares about social studies? Everyone's like, what the heck is going on? Then, without warning, she steps on a desk, grabs the overhead projector, tears it down, and slams it on the floor. She grabs her keys, walks out the door, and she never returns for the rest of the school year. That's absolute nuts. When he was 7, he did something so dumb. It was a public swimming pool. Family locker room, wet floors, benches everywhere. This kid's in there and he notices something sitting under a bench. What is it? It's a thumbtack, just sitting there. Nobody was around, nobody was paying attention. Instead of picking this up and throwing it away, he takes it and places it pointy side up right in the middle of the floor. Then he goes away. About 30 minutes pass. Families keep moving in and out of the locker room, bare feet, and he starts to think to himself, maybe that was a bad idea. Maybe somebody could get hurt. So he goes back in, but he's way too late. Oh no. Oh, Mom, I'm bleeding. A kid had stepped right on it, and his foot was bleeding. Oh my God, what a horrible person would do something like this. The kid never said a word. He just stood there, panicking internally. You'll be okay, son. Whoever did this is a complete and utter idiot. I mean, yeah, that's pretty messed up. Secret Santa Day. The rule, you pick a name, you don't say the name you picked. Teacher's walking around with a basket. Everyone picks a name. All right, pick and shh. Pick and shh. Good. Pick and shh. After everybody picked, this one girl asked another girl, who'd you get? And for some reason, this girl completely forgets the whole point of this. And she says, I picked Tyler. And this is where this all just crumbles. Tyler's head shoots up. What? Kayla's my Secret Santa? Dude, I'm cooked. She's gonna give me a horrible gift. Well, who do you have? I got Billy. Nice. At this point, the whole system collapses. Everyone's telling each other who they got. And then the teacher got mad. And then everyone else got mad. And they blamed it on the original girl, Kayla, who said she had Tyler. And so if it wasn't for her, this might have gone smoothly. But it didn't. Hey, happy holidays. He graduated 8th grade. I freaking did it. And his school gave him a free meal card for Cane's. I love Cane's. It was his golden ticket. He guarded it like it was a national treasure. But the thing is, whenever he was driving home or to somewhere with his mom, he would always ask, Mom, I'm hungry. Can I please use my Cane's card now? She would say, no, sweetie, because it's only for one Cane's meal. What about your siblings? They'll feel left out. Well, I can use the card and you can pay for their meals. You think I made the money? The card just lived in his wallet, unused, waiting. Then one day, he goes into his wallet to look at it. It's gone, and he wasn't the one that used it. So now it's a full-blown investigation. He goes downstairs. Where's my Cane's card? Did somebody use my Cane's card? His little sister said, no. But he said in that moment, he began to smell the sauce. So he looks in the garbage can. Cane's box. You? His little sister cracks instantly. I went to a doctor's appointment today, and Mom took me to Cane's. She used her card. She grabbed it out of your wallet last night. His mom came home, and she didn't really have a reason why she did this. This kid was heartbroken. The betrayal was biblical. He didn't talk to his mom for weeks after that. That's messed up, dude.
আগামী সপ্তাহে জানতে পারবো।
আচ্ছা, অসুবিধা নাই যদি আপনার এখানে না।
আসো, তুমি এরকম মুড অফ হয়ে থাকলে কেমন ভালো লাগে বলো?
একজন মানুষকে চেনার জন্য তার সাথে অনেক দিন ধরে মেলামেশা করার প্রয়োজন হয় না।
মা, তোর একটা কথা বলি।
কি কথা বাবা?
এই বিয়ে তো প্রায়
সেটা অন্য বিষয়, কিন্তু এখন তো সিরিয়াস হওয়া উচিত, তাই না?
তোমার বাসার অ্যাড্রেস বলো, কত নাম্বার সেক্টর?
শুভ সাহেব, আমি বলছি, দেখেন,
নাও, যদি তোমার ইচ্ছে করে তুমি চাকরি করবা।
আব্বাও যে আমাদের এভাবে ছেড়ে চলে যাবে।
বোমে মরিচ,
খুব ভালো হয়।
বোমে মরিচ দেন। দেখতো ফুচকাটা হলো কিনা।
একটু নেন না।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, মামা আসুক তারপর শুরু করি।
আমরা সবাই মিলে তোরে মাফ করে দিল, আল্লাহ তাআলা তোর জীবনও মাফ করে।
সুস্থ মানে হ্যাঁ নাচবেন না কোনো বিবেকবান সুস্থ
কারণ এরকম ব্যবহার করছিল ওই দিন।
পানিটা খাও। আহা বসতে দে, বসেন না। রিক্সার ব্যাটারি ডাউন হয়ে গেছে।
বসেন বসেন। কি
মা, তুমি এসব চিন্তা করো কেন?
এক নাম্বারই দিছি, তোমার আম্মা ভালো হয়ে যাবে। চল।
ধন্যবাদ। একটা মিনিট, আপনি মেডিকেলেরই কিছু একটা ব্যবসা করেন?
তুই জানো না কি করে?
কিছু খাবা না?
আপনারা কথা শেষ করেন, তারপর খাবেন।
আসতে পারলি না, কাম কাজ গুছাইছো কিছু?
না তুমি গুছাইছো?
আমিও তো কিছু গুছাইতে পারিনি।
নতুন ডাইরেক্টর আইছে, আইসিবার বলে মেডিকেলের অবস্থা ভালো, পাবলিক সব দেই হেনে যায়।
কিভাবে খবর পায় ওরা আমরা আসার আগে? আগে সেইটা খোঁজো, নাইলে এই সিন্ডিকেট ধরা যাবে না। চলো সামনের দিকে চলো।
200 টাকা।
হ্যাঁ এটা তো দেখেই বুঝতেছি, একদম সেম কেস। আমাদের রোগী যে বাঁচবো সেই এই হাসপাতালের সামনে ম্যাক্সিমামই কিন্তু ভাই দালাল। এক রোগ হইব আর পাঠাইবো আরেক ডাক্তারের কাছে। চল
একটু দাঁড়ান, আমাকে একটু লইয়ে যান। মোরা তো চিনি না, টাকা পয়সা আছে।
মারে ওষুধ কিনতে টাকা লাগে না।
আর আমাদের যা হওয়ার তো আম্মা হয়েই গেছে। খারাপ
তোর কত বন্ধু বান্ধব মেডিকেলে চান্স পাইনি,
এর তো কোনো কথা ছিল না।
এই হাসপাতালে কয়টা পিএইচডি করা ডাক্তার আছে তাতে সন্দেহ আছে, আমি যে পিএইচডি করা বাট পারে তো কোনো সন্দেহ না।
মনে হয় খেপে ব্যস্ত আছে।
হইতে পারে আশপাশে মনে হয় কোন জানি বুঝাইতে আস।
আমার কামান কর
না দাদা, আমাকে ভুল আছে অনেক। এই যে লোকগুলো আমরা ঠিক করছি।
কথা কইছ না, যে যেরকম আছে থাক, কাম করতে থাকবে না।
দাদা এর মধ্যে আজকে আবার সমস্যায় কও দেই।
রেখা